All right, hey everybody, thanks and welcome. Thanks to all of you who are joining us today for Salt Project Open Hour. I'm Chunga. I'm the Salt Community Manager, and looks like we've got a halfway decent turnout today, considering that we actually have a lot of people that are out. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here really quick and see if we can't get this going. Again, forgive the egregious tabs, although it sounds like I'm definitely not alone based on the last Salt Conf or Salt Open Hour. Sorry, you can tell what's on my brain today. All right, well, Salt Community Open Hour for January 20th. Here's what's going on today. Oh, by the way, before we go any further, I'll just host today. We usually have a community member, most likely Gareth or Wayne, host Open Hour today. We've had some drop-offs. We've had some changes to the agenda. So I'm just going to move through this fairly quickly and see if we can't get to the Q&A and have the really learned, knowledgeable people help you guys out with stuff because we've had some changes to the lineup. Here's where you can find us. You want to get involved with Salt Project? Heck yes, you do. You want to do more with Salt Project? Absolutely. YouTube, GitHub, Slack, Twitch, Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook. Is it still called Facebook or is it Meta now? I think it's still Facebook and Twitter. You like how I asked that, knowing full well we know what the answer is. Here's what's going on today. Again, there's been some changes. I'm going to be giving some community updates. And then our dear friend Thomas Phipps is out. He notified us a little bit ago that he's sick today. So we will not be talking with Thomas Phipps. We're going to get a Salt Docs update with Alyssa, and thank you so much, Alyssa. I know you were not feeling good as well, and then we'll get to the Q&A probably fairly quickly today. A couple of updates that I think you should all be aware of. Again, Open Hour happens every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. To 11 a.m. Pacific time. Our next Salt Community Open Hour will be February 3rd. Open Hour is February 3rd. That's the next one. And another thing I want to make you all aware of, we're constructing a new Salt Project e-store. I'm very excited about this because I'm the guy that puts it all together and has to work on it. For a lot of you, you're probably like, okay, cool. We're going to be stocking it with all kinds of new goodies, all kinds of vintage goodies from the pre-acquisition Salt Stack days. We still have some of that stuff. We're going to be clearancing it out for next to nothing. And this is not only for you folks that are here watching this live, but for everyone that will be watching this later on YouTube. Prizes await those who attend Open Hour in the new e-store, in the new Salt Project e-store. So we're going to be awarding prizes for people that attend. Yes, I'm bribing you to show up to Open Hour. But that could be as part of the Salty 5 segment, or I could just be awarding special codes for you to go in and pick stuff out of the e-store at random. So as soon as we get the e-store up and running, that will be what we do. So again, we had a community update scheduled here with Tom. He's out. He's not going to be able to deliver that to you today. And again, Tom, we hope you feel better. He'll be back he'll be back on the 3rd, and we'll probably have a lot to talk about there. Moving right along, Alyssa is here, thankfully. I'm glad you're feeling better. And why don't you go ahead and take over and update us on the Salt Docs working group.
Happy to take over. So we recently held last week the first Salt Docs working group meeting of the year. We had pretty good attendance, especially from the community, at least benchmarking from what my expectations in the past were. So I thought it was a win. And in that meeting, we reviewed what the group had been working on in the previous year and discussed what projects we might want to tackle first in the group. So the next thing we're going to be doing is talking about implementing Veil and other quality checks that will help us shift left on the docs, essentially. And so I've invited, we have a new technical writer on the Salt Stack config side who actually has some pretty good experience implementing Veil in her previous docs projects. So she's going to come and meet with the group and help us troubleshoot some of the issues we've been having implementing Veil on the Salt user guide repository. So we're going to be working through that next time. If you'd like to learn how to use linters like Veil for docs work or for other purposes. So that will be, our next meeting will be on Tuesday, January 25th. And can I briefly steal the screen share again, Chunga?
Yeah, absolutely. Here you go.
Okay, so I mentioned last time that I was able to get this Salt Docs roadmap up and running, where this is where I'm tracking major doc initiatives, requests from the community and other stakeholders for major doc improvements to the Salt Docs. This is here to kind of set a roadmap and help us determine what we'll work on next. It also gives you the ability as a community member to upvote and tell us what improvements you'd like to see made to the docs. So this will help us make decisions about that. Last week, I met with some stakeholders to decide what the first doc initiative should be. And we decided it should be to create and implement quality standards for all of the module documentation. You can kind of read that in more detail here. I'll drop the link in just a moment. But basically, what we want to do is do some research into best practices and standards about what makes effective module documentation. We'll be researching things like the Google style for doc strings, their recommendations. We'll be meeting with people who use the documentation regularly to talk about what they need from it. Hopefully we'll develop some quality standards and maybe even a template for what the module documentation should look like going forward. That will then be applied to all future module documentation that is submitted to the project. And then we'll try to retroactively go back and improve the existing SALT module documentation to get it up to that standard, starting with some of the more higher priority modules first and then going from there. So that's basically in the works for the docs. I hope that excites you and makes you feel happy to see those improvements. If you'd like to help with those improvements, you can always join our SALT Docs working group or just simply join us and chat with us on the Slack documentation channel. All right, that's it for me. Chunga, back over to you.
Thank you. Excellent. Well done. Just had a question come in the chat, by the way, from Nick Hughes, and he says, "Hey, do I get a prize for commandeering an extra 30 minutes of the Q&A every single SALT company or SALT open hour?" Sorry, man, what is the deal with me today? Every single SALT open hour, and the answer is yes, Nick. Absolutely, that's what we're talking about. That's why we're doing those kind of prizes. Is we want engagement, we want input, we want feedback, and that brings us to Salty 5. So I had asked Tom Phipps to take over and do the first little segment of Salty 5 to give an example of what we wanted to do. He had something prepared, but again, Tom is out. So with that, Salty 5 is really simple. We have this segment. This was technically supposed to be the first time that we started doing it. And what it is just 5 minutes of you showcasing something, any project that you may be working on with SALT, to just show how amazing you are, A, and B, to give fellow community members, whether they're watching it live or on YouTube, an opportunity to see a creative solution to a problem or a, just new innovation involving SALT that they may perhaps not have thought about. So again, we're going to do this every single open hour. We hope to turn this into something really big. This is always how it starts, which is just a little drip here and there. So apologies that Tom doesn't have anything here for us. With that said, does anyone else have anything that they want to share from the community? I'm not planning on anything being there, but I thought I'd throw it out just in case. Anybody? Okay, fair enough. So in the future, yeah, we're going to be awarding prizes for people that contribute to Salty 5. We're going to be giving prizes that way and in other additional ways. So if you have something that you feel would be great to highlight in this segment, all you have to do, it's really simple. Just send me an email at schunga, S as in Sam, schunga @vmware.com, or you can Slack me. Really easy. It's just Jimmy Chunga in Slack. You can hit me there. We don't have to approve anything that you want to put in here. I just need to know so that I can call on you and put you into the agenda. Does anybody have any questions about that at all? No? Okay, good enough. This help wanted, all of these help wanted issues remain from the last open hour. I think we're going to move through this quickly. And that brings us to our Q&A. Nick, the time is yours, my man. Is there anyone that has any questions that can be answered by the community core team here? No questions today. Really?
I could not mute fast enough.
Oh, okay. There you go. Got it.
I just threw a PR into the chat, and I was just wondering if there was any more hoops to jump through on this. I had sent a message to Wayne yesterday, but he might not be feeling good too because I hadn't responded. But I was just wondering if, since it's been approved, if it could be merged in, because it was a fix to a PR that I put in where we immediately found an issue with it. So I don't want it to get languished and all of a sudden, commit a bug.
Yeah, does anybody have anything there? So the link is in the chat, right? Do you want me to pull it up, Nick?
The link is in the chat. If you want to pull it up, that's on you, man.
All right, let's pull it up and take a quick look here.
It's a relatively small change. I was just expecting a certain case because of my test cases for the actual header that comes in when we're using HTTP sources. And so I just changed it to be case insensitive. And I just want to make sure that we don't commit the feature, but not this fix.
So just a quick question. Did this go into, was this a change that went into 3004, or did the previous PR go into what will be 3005?
5.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just looking at the comments, I think Wayne's only concern was that the tests were not passing, but it looks like tests are passing now. So I don't see any reason why we couldn't go ahead and merge this.
Even Atkins had some questions on it too.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw that as I was looking up to get the link. Basically, there's two things that are the crux of that. One is, instead of specifically using eTag, he's advocating for changing the entire way that I'm doing it. And I'm not really prepared to do that. I understand that it might have benefit for people that maybe want to use the metadata for something else, but I had a specific problem that I was going to solve. And the functionality is already in there, right? This is just a small bug fix. So
I would just reply to him and explain why you're not prepared to do that. I don't see an issue with merging it the way it is now.
Cool. And then if nobody else has any other Q&As, Gareth, do you want to talk a little bit about salt extension Prometheus stuff that you were talking about in the message to me, or do you want to catch up about that some other time?
Yeah, sure. We can talk about that. So just to give everyone else a heads up, Nick had put in a PR to add some, I think it's a returner, to add a Prometheus returner. And then one of the things that we, the core team, have been really pushing for is any new additions in the form of new modules, new returners, new state modules, etc., to go in as salt extensions. And so we're in the process of kind of figuring out where all of those will be hosted. So ideally we would want a central place for ones that we consider. Obviously, everyone, if someone wants to maintain their own, if an individual organization wants to maintain their own via like in their own GitHub, their own PyPy location or wherever, they're more than welcome to do that. And that's one of the advantages and really cool features of Salt extensions. But ultimately, we want to have somewhere where community maintained but quote unquote blessed extensions live. So we're still trying to hashing out the details of where that would be.
My understanding and the way that we initially, when Pedro and I were initially discussing this, is actually what I was advocating was that they would be hosted on people's private, not private, but people's personal GitHubs or wherever, whoever's maintaining that would be hosting it, but that we would provide ways of running tests
Right.
those and
Right.
and we would provide an aggregated, so some sort of place where you could find them, but we wouldn't host them. We would just have something like a portal to be able to see what exists and find them, and that was
Right.
based on how, basically based on how it's packaged and put up into PyPI, that we'd be looking at PyPI and figuring that out.
I think that last part is going to be really crucial because people are already complaining that there isn't like the equivalent of an Ansible Galaxy, right?
Right. And that's,
so
that's what we're discussing now is like, what does that look like? There is a sort of really rudimentary proof of concept that Pedro made for that. But we need to flesh it out more, quite a bit, actually.
And my understanding is that proof of concept is not dynamic currently. It's very much a static information. I think occasionally Pedro runs the update to pull in anything.
We need to figure out how we're gonna host it. Like the way I think what we need is we need to build like a website, you know, something with an API, something that can update itself and run and kind of look nice and everything. But we need to figure out where we're going to host that.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to the point, there's a lot of details to work out. But in the interim, as far as this PR, my message to Nick earlier was that we would help him get a Salt extension set up, at least hosted in his GitHub account or his company's GitHub account or wherever he wants to host it. And then once we have a lot of those details worked out in the future, we would kind of update things as where they stand.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully if we go down that path and if Nick is willing to work with us on that'll help us flesh out some of these details that aren't fully fleshed out yet.
Yep.
And me, I love working with you guys. Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. So we'll have you do all the work. We'll take all the credits.
That's how everything goes in my life. So perfect.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I think if we've reached the end of that one, Pitter Punk, send me a Slack, will you? And I'll make sure you have all those links so that it lives on beyond this chat. You were asking for the help wanted links. Just send me a Slack again. Super easy, Jimmy Chunga, and I'll get all that to you. That way it's there. Yeah, the help wanted links, exactly. So just send me a Slack and I'll make sure you have this. Okay, any other questions? Anything else in the Q&A? Wow. Nick, you only took like 10 minutes, man. Gary.
Sorry, next time I'll have my dissertation prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Did I mention prizes? Okay, so Gary in the chat, Gary's asking if someone can look at this. I'm going to, against my better judgment, pull this up.
So
I'm always nervous when Gary says that.
I'll give some background on this one. So this is a PR that Nick originally wrote, which I further modified I don't think it's been covered so far in the new VMware Salt extension. And I don't know if there's any plans to, but I definitely need the functionality.
You want me to scroll to the bottom here? Gary, where would you like me to stop on this?
Sure, hold on, I can't see your screen share, 1 second. Yeah, so this is just adds, this is a really simple change that Nick originally wrote, and then I expanded to add some virtual hardware features to the Salt Cloud driver for VMware. And but it needs someone to look at it and approve it. Unless this is going to be replaced by the VMware Salt extension, but I haven't seen anything for VMware Cloud in there yet.
Yeah, I don't know the plans for that right now, but we should definitely check so that we don't end up duplicating work. But I wouldn't see any reason why this couldn't be merged, assuming the tests are passing.
Yeah, so well, that's going to be the one kicker. There's not a ton of tests on this one. And I really don't have the capability to go back and write tests for the entire module. I wouldn't know where to start.
Do we have no VMware cloud tests?
I don't think so. Let me go back and refresh my memory. It's been a while since I worked on this one.
Yeah,
Cloud integration.
I think
Please.
that was the main kicker, right? Like, I think I added, correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, but this is like two options or something like that, like really simple options to the Salt Cloud driver for VMware. And there wasn't any real good way for me to write tests around it, and it sort of languished and then just sort of died. And I think Gary picked up the torch here.
Yeah, and I added like 3 more options. So probably together we've added maybe 10 lines of code.
Yeah, I wasn't implying that you need to write cloud module tests. What I was saying is provided the tests that we do have, just the test suite in general passes.
Yeah, I think it was only I just kicked it off again. It was failing on like Fedora, whatever the latest Fedora is, but all the other ones were passing.
Okay. Yeah, and in the future, you can just do like rerun Fedora, and that should just kick off the ones that failed.
Yeah, I was just it's been a long time since I updated the branch, so I kicked off an update branch.
Yeah, let's label it phosphorus, and then which it is. We just got that label on it, so it's on the radar. We'll get it merged.
Okay, sounds great.
There are some integration tests for that cloud module, but I don't know if they're very basic, looks like.
All right. Anything else? Thank you, Gary, by the way.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button.
All right. I was afraid I did something because it's usually me. So, all right. If nobody has anything else, speak now, forever hold your peace. Thank you to all of you who are showing up. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. It's very, very disheartening to see so many sick people. I'm sure you guys all share that sentiment. So we will see you again, if there's nothing else, on February 3rd. For those of you watching postmortem on YouTube, we want Salty 5 segments. So we want to know what you're doing with Salt. We want to know how you're doing it, and we want to be able to showcase that so that more people can learn this amazing piece of software. So if there will be nothing else, I think we'll call it a day. We good? All right, everyone. Thanks for coming. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.